Okay, so in the last class, last to last class, we started VR. We set up a room, right? Uh, we set up a room and then we set up its surroundings, the buildings, and then we also added the background, that is the hills. So let me. So you see the hills kind of thing that we added as background. Okay, so coming back to the room, we changed the sunlight direction because there is a directional light. You see this one, and we can always change it. So we rotated it so that the light falls in a particular angle in the room. Okay. And then we also looked at how to use the simulator mode. That is, if you don't have the actual headset, how to you use the simulator so that you can move around in the room or control objects in the room. So for that, we added something called XR device simulator. All right. So once you add it, if you press the play button, you can see the simulator mode, right? So let me enlarge this space. So it is better if you have a mouse to do some of the things. Only trackpad will limit you. Okay. So by default, you are in head mounted display. So when you move, your entire XR rig is moving. The camera, the hand controllers, all these are moving together. Okay. You can also see the reflections in the mirror. Okay. You can select either the left controller or the right controller. If you, for temporarily, if you want to select, just press the shift key, then your left controller is selected, or press the space bar, then your right controller is selected. Okay. The moment you leave, they're gone. So if you hold the shift key, left controller is selected. If you hold the space bar, right controller is selected. If you don't want to keep holding, just press T. Now your left controller is selected, or press Y, your right controller is selected. If you press any of these again, if you press Y again, you will come back to the head mounted display. So these shortcuts, they are visible here. You can minimize it or maximize it. Okay. And if you press the right mouse button, only your headset will move without the hand controllers. Okay. So only your vision will change. In the previous case, without pressing the right mouse button, if you just move, your entire body is moving, not only the head. Okay. But if you press the right mouse button and move, only your head will be moving, not the hand controllers. All right. So that's the difference. And if you select any controller and if you press the middle mouse button, that controller will move. So I selected right controller. Right now, if you just move the mouse normally, only the pointer is moving, but the controller is not moving. But suppose you want to grab something, then the controller actually has to go, right? So for that, you should press the middle mouse button so that the controller moves. Okay. So these are some things which only with practice you will remember. Okay. So this is what we saw last time, and then I asked you to add furniture to the room, some furniture to the room, so that we can move around in the room. Okay. Actually, I added it in a different in a copy of this project. So let me open that. So, 1 second. So let me close this for now. So this is the one. Okay. Okay, actually let me delete some items because I will add them later. Uh, okay. Let me delete this as well. Okay. So I added some items. Basically, chimney. Sorry, fireplace, TV, and a table on it with a TV on it, and seating places like a sofa and some cupboards, right? Okay, and this side a table and two chairs, and this side again a storage space and a hook on top of it, and mirror and hook we actually saw already. And in this corner I added a light stand, and here I added a table lamp. Okay, so some of these things I added. So now what we will do, let me also add a rug. Okay, so let's add this. Okay. Yeah. So now, if you remember, I said there are three kinds of movements. One is continuous in the VR world. There are three ways in which you can move. One is continuous, that is you move in the virtual world, you move in the physical space so that you move in the virtual world. So if I am say viewing maybe Taj Mahal in my VR headset. Now, if I want to move around Taj Mahal, I am wearing the VR headset in my room. I have to move around exactly in my room so that in the virtual world I am moving in the same way. But this obviously has limitations. The physical space in which we are is limited. and it may not be as large as the virtual space. So we can't explore the entire virtual space by sitting here in the limited physical space. So that is the main limitation. So another method is you don't actually move around, you just move your joystick to move in the virtual space. So you sit there only, but you move your joystick or whatever controller you have, and you seem to move in the virtual space. So your mind tells you that you are moving, but your body tells you that you are not moving. So there is a sort of tension between your mind and body, so that actually creates something called simulated sickness. Okay, so that is the main issue there. So the intermediate thing is the best approach. That is, rather than walking around as if you are in that virtual space, or rather than not moving at all, you jump to specific portions and move around in a small space. So suppose if I am going around Taj Mahal, then what I will do, I will first say stand in the front. I will move around that space that much in my physical room as well, and then I will jump to the right side of Taj Mahal, or I will jump to the inside of Taj Mahal, and then I will move around there naturally in my physical space. So now rather than making everything one continuous space, I am breaking this one big virtual space into small chunks of virtual spaces, and I am able to jump to any of these small chunks of virtual spaces and move around in that space. Okay, so jumping is the only thing which is not real. You're not jumping in real world, but you're jumping in virtual world, but that does not disturb your sense organs so much. But once you land there, you will move around in the physical space and identically in the virtual space also. Okay, so that is what one can do. And this is true not only for translation, this is true even for rotation. Even in rotation, we have these multiple options. One is continuously rotate. That is, as I rotate, my headset as my headset rotates, my world rotates inside, the virtual world rotates. That is fine. Another option is I physically don't rotate, I just use a joystick or whatever, only the virtual world rotates. And again, that will create this simulated sickness, because my mind is telling me that I am rotating, but my body is telling me that I am not rotating. So again, there is a tension. Again, in this, there is an intermediate option, that is, you don't continuously rotate, at the same time you don't physically rotate, you use your joystick only to rotate, but we will make this rotation like discrete or like split rotations. That is, you rotate 45 degrees, then 45 degrees, then 45 degrees. Now it does not seem very contradictory to your natural state and the mental state. Okay, so I'll just show that to you. So first you should select XR rig. Let me remove these and add them again. Okay, so once you select XR rig, you should add a component called locomotion system. Okay, so this locomotion system controls your movements, how you should move and all that. And here it is expecting something called XR origin. So you should drag this XR origin component above the locomotion system into this field, XR origin field. Okay, then you should add another component. So first I will show you continuous turn, and then I will show you how you turn, you jump. Your turns are like jumps. You turn suddenly some 20 degrees or 30 degrees and so on. So first let me show you continuous turn provider. So you should select action based because this follows the actions you perform with your joystick. If you turn left, it will go left. If you turn right, it will go right. Okay, so select action based. And now this is expecting a locomotion system. Okay, so you drag this locomotion system into this. Okay, and then turn speed you can change. 60 is the default. You can make it say 40 or 50 or whatever. Okay, now let us test it. So here it is saying use left hand turn action, right hand turn action. So basically if you press the left key or the left arrow or right arrow, you will turn, or WASD keys, you will turn. Okay. Okay, now you should, so to press WASD keys, you should be using your controllers, left hand or right hand controller. So select one of these controllers. I am selecting right hand controller. Now when I press when I press A, it should go left. Okay, you see it is going left. When I press D, it should go right, and so on. But if you wear a headset and keep doing this, that is, you are not moving your head, but you are moving your joystick and the world around you is moving, you will actually feel nauseatic, right? So this is not a either you move your headset, that is one way, but you don't want to continuously keep rotating. You want to use your joystick, but you want to use it in such a way that your natural state is not disturbed too much. Okay, so this continuous motion using joystick will will create this simulation sickness. So instead of continuous turns, we will use another method. So let me remove this component, or you can uncheck it. Anything is fine. You can uncheck or remove it. Right now I am unchecking it. So I will add another component called snap turn provider. Okay, so it's like your turns are like snaps. They are not continuous. You suddenly turn at a time, some 30 degrees, 45 degrees, like that. Okay, so it is snap turn provider, action based. And let's expand this. And this is also expecting a locomotion system, right? So drag this locomotion system here, and here the default turn amount is 45 degrees. That is, it will turn 45, 45, 45 at a time. Okay, you can change this angle if you want. The debounce time is 0.5 seconds. So what it means is, between every 2 turns, it will wait for at least 0.5 seconds. It will not keep turning very fast. Again, that will create simulation sickness. So even if you keep pressing the left arrow key or the right arrow key, it will take 0.5 seconds gap between one turn and the next turn. Okay, and enable turn left right. Yes, you should enable it so that it will turn either left or right. And enable turnaround. So this enable turnaround, it is up to you if you want to keep it or not. So basically what it means is, say suddenly if you want to turn back, turn 180 degrees, you can check it. If you don't want that, if you want to move only by rotating, then you can uncheck it. Okay, this enable turnaround thing, right? You see, controls whether to enable 180 degree snap turns. All right, yeah. So now let's check it. Again, we need to select the controller. So I am selecting right controller. Any controller is fine. Now I am going left. That is, I press the A key. You see, it's suddenly moving 45 degrees. It is not moving continuously. It is moving like in jumps, snaps. And it is not moving really continuously. Because the debounce time is there 0.5 seconds. If that 0.5, if I reduce it to 0 or something, then suppose if I make it 0.1, okay, now you see, now it's moving too fast. All right, now suppose if I make it 0, too fast. So you want some minimum time gap. So let's keep it 0.5. Now even if you keep holding this left key A, it will take some time so that you understand what you are looking at. You can go right also, okay. Now to go back, there is 180-degree turn also we provided. So you press back key, that is S. In WASD keys you have to use, not the arrow keys. So if you press S, you see suddenly you are looking at the mirror. Again if you press S, you are looking at the TV, okay. So you are turning 180 degrees straight. That is because this option is checked. Suppose if I uncheck this option, then this thing won't work. You are unable to turn at a time. You have to move through all the intermediate points to reach the diametrically opposite point, okay. So that is the thing. All right. So what did we do so far? We went to XRRig, added a component called locomotion system, all right, and in that there is a field called XR origin. We drag this XR origin into this field, okay, and then we added continuous turn provider, in which there is a field called system, where we have to add locomotion system, into which we drag the locomotion system, and then we tested it. Then we unchecked continuous turn provider and we added a component called snap turn provider. So I hide this continuous turn provider. We added a component called snap turn provider, and that also has this locomotion system. We drag the locomotion system onto that, and then we tested, that also worked fine. That's all. So once you are in the simulation mode, you should select one of the controllers by toggling T or Y, and then you should use WASD keys to keep moving left or right, okay. So this is what we are supposed to do. All right, now this is only about rotation, right? So now no matter how much I rotate, I can't move around in the room, right? Moving or motion is different, translation is different. So far we just rotated. In rotation we saw continuous rotation and snap turn rotation. But what if I want to move say near the TV, or what if I want to move near the table or near the door? So there are different parts in this room. What if I want to move there? What if I want to translate to that point? Okay, so that we will see now. So for that, again we select XRRig and hide all this. We don't need this, and we add a component called, so continuous motion and device based or controller based motion both have their issues, as I discussed. So as we discussed, the best option is teleportation. Teleportation is jumping to a point and then moving around, okay. So that's what we will see now. So for that you need to add something called teleportation provider, okay. So this teleportation provider you add to XRRig. That means it gives XRRig teleportation abilities for it to jump from one point to another, okay. And in this locomotion system, again you drag the locomotion system, okay. Now this gives XRRig the ability to teleport, but it is not sufficient, because you should also provide the points where this XR rig can teleport. Okay, so you should add movable points in the room as well. Suppose when you're playing a game, there are walls. You can't pass through the walls because the game developer made them obstructions, not teleportable points, not movable points. Say, or suppose you have some coin that you can take, or say you have some wealth that you can take. Say in the game you're not allowed to move to that point until you finish some other tasks, right? So there is no door or wall or any such thing. You're just unable to move to that point. That's because that area is restricted. Okay, so not only that you should have teleportation abilities, but that area should allow you to teleport there. Okay, so we should add teleportable area in our space, in our scene, right? So only when we add teleportation area can we teleport to that place. Okay, so first part is teleportation provider you need to add to whichever object you want to teleport. So we want to teleport XR rig, that is we want to move. We means the player. What is the player object here? XR rig. The entire component, the headset, the hand controllers, the camera, all these things put together is XR rig. So we add teleportation abilities to that. How do we do that? You select XR rig and add component in that, select teleportation provider. Okay, so now XR rig will get teleportation abilities. But where can it teleport, where can it not teleport? For that you need to add teleportation area. Okay, so let's select this rug and let's make this a teleportation area so that the user can teleport here. The user can jump onto this rug. Okay, so now here you need to add a component called teleportation area, right? So teleportation area, all right. And here this XR interaction manager, the actual thing is you have the XR interaction manager here. You can just drag it here. Even if you don't drag it, it will detect it automatically. So this is optional. You can drag or you need not drag, it will detect it automatically. What is XR interaction manager? And this world space up. So this teleportation configuration, we will see world space up, target up and forward. What this means is, now there are global, there are global access and there is local access system. For each object there is local access and global access. Now it is up to you. If you want your object to align with the global access, you can select this world space up. Or if you want the object to align with the local axis, you can select this target up. And if you want to select the local axis and always facing the forward direction, you can select this target up and forward. I will show you these. So let's leave this world space up as it is right now. And in this teleportation provider, you need to drag this XR rig object. So XR rig object from the hierarchy panel, drag onto teleportation provider. Okay, so now this should work. So let us go to play mode. Okay, so what I want to do now, say I want to jump onto the carpet, right? So for that I need to use my hand controllers. So I can use either right hand controller or left hand controller. Let me select right hand controller. Now I will move the pointer onto the rug. Okay, it is some other direction. Yeah, you see, the moment the pointer is on the rug, it turned white. It means it is an area where you can go to. That's what it means. As long as it is not on the rug, it is red. But the moment it is on the rug, it turned white. Okay? So now imagine you have a hand controller. You are pointing the controller onto some space, onto some virtual point, and then you want to jump there. So you need to press a button on the hand controller. Okay? So that specific button is mapped to the key G here. So when you press G, you jump here directly. So you can see that your position has changed. Right? Now you are on the other side of the rug. Earlier you were somewhere here. Now you are standing here. Okay? Now suppose I want to jump to say this corner of the rug. Again I select my right controller and I move this. Right? So you see, now I will jump here. Again I press the button G. I jumped. Okay? So I am teleporting. So now once I teleport, I can walk or I can move my head around. All those things will anyway work. But if it is a large space, rather than walking up to there, I will jump there by pointing my controller and pressing a button. So that's what we will do. Now in this, if you observe, wherever I am jumping, my direction is not changing. If I am jumping, looking that side, even after jumping, I will look that side only. Okay? So my orientation will not change. My orientation will remain as my current orientation. But suppose I want you to jump to the corner of the wall. Then facing that corner doesn't make sense. I want you to jump and suddenly rotate towards the room. I want you to do both the things at the same time. Okay? So every jump need not be a plain jump. Some jumps can be just plain jumps. Some jumps you want the player to jump as well as rotate automatically. So in that case, all we need to do is change this. So let me get back. In that case, you need to change this orientation. So to give you example of that, so let me add a couple of small rugs. Okay. Okay. So I added this, and so let me copy it and add a few more. One more. So in this case, let's rotate this. And move it out. So you see these global axes, they always point to the room orientation. Okay, they never change. XYZ axis never change. But this rug's local axis, they change. You see, the local axis has changed. So this is global axis and this is local axis. Okay, so now I want to move the rug along the local axis. Fine. Okay, so now I will make these small rugs also as teleportation areas so that the user can jump there. But I don't want the user to be looking at, I always want the user to be looking at the room. So whichever rug the user jumps onto, he will automatically turn towards the room. That's what I want the user to do. Okay, so which means this blue line, if you see this blue axis, this is always looking towards the room of any rug. Of this rug's blue axis is also looking towards the room, as well as this rug's blue axis is also looking towards the room. So this is the forward axis. So what I want the user to do, I want the user to jump there and then look forward, so that the user will always face the room. Okay, so I will add teleportation area to each of these rugs, and rather than, suppose if there are 10 small rugs, I don't want to do it for each object, I will do it directly for their prefab. Okay, so I selected this rug. Now I will select this prefab. You see, this is already coming from the prefab, some matte red black. So I will open this prefab. Okay, and so anyway, this is the prefab, and so I'll open this prefab. In this, I will add teleportation area. Okay, now in this teleportation area, this match orientation, in this I will select target up and forward. Okay, target up and forward, so that now whatever is the forward, local forward for the rug, that will be the forward for the player. The local axis is what we will follow. Okay, so I did that, and here teleportation provider, we need to select XR rig. Okay. So this XR rig, let me drag onto this teleportation provider. Okay, yeah, so this should work. So now let's see. Okay, so let me select the left controller and let me move it towards the, okay, towards this rug. Now it turned white. Now let me jump there. Now when I jump there, you will see that it will not, right now it is facing the corner of the wall. Now when it jumps, it does not face the corner of the wall, it will face the room, because the rug's local axis is facing the room. Okay, so let me press G. You see, it's facing the room, it's not facing the corner of the wall, right? Okay, now let me jump onto the other rug. So let me say jump onto this rug. Okay, all right, now if I jump there, it will not face the fireplace, it will face the room. You see, it's facing the room. So that's what, that orientation is decided by this component, match orientation. You see this match orientation, because you selected target up and forward, it is looking forward through, it is looking towards the forward axis. Okay, so that is what is happening. If you selected only world space up, suppose if I selected only that, okay, now let me jump onto another, this mat. Now I am looking towards the mirror, so when I jump there, it will look towards the mirror only. Okay, so let's see. Okay, because I am in play mode, it is not working. So let me come out. You also need to save it. Yeah, so that is one thing. So suppose I change this target up and forward to world space up. Now if we run it, now if I change the left controller, if I press the button, Now you see, you are not changing your orientation. You are still facing the wall only. Okay, so that's the difference. So if you want to change your orientation, you change this orientation, match orientation component. You should change world space up to target up and forward. Okay, so what does target up mean? So suppose your rug, instead of pointing up, suppose if it is pointing down, suppose if your rug is upside down, okay, then you will also be standing upside down. So that's what target up means. World space up means whether your rug is upside down or straight, you will always face the world side up only. Okay, but if you want your vertical orientation to depend on the target's vertical orientation, then you select target up. So simple thing: horizontal orientation, vertical orientation. Horizontal orientation of the vertical orientation of the world space up means whatever is the vertical orientation of the world, wherever you are jumping, whatever is its vertical orientation doesn't matter. You will always face upside in the world. But suppose if your target is on the wall, okay, now you want to take the vertical orientation of the target. So suppose I have a picture frame on the wall. I am jumping here. I have two options. The world is straight like this. When I jump here also, I should keep looking like this only. Then world space up. Or this object is like this. I also want to stand like this. Then instead of world space up, I should choose target up. Okay? Then I will stand like this. I will also see the world in the perpendicular fashion. The next thing is, what about horizontal orientation? My object's forward orientation is downwards. So should I look down? I am standing like this, but I can look down, or I can look up, or I can look left or right, whatever it is. Now this depends on its horizontal orientation. If you want to choose that also, then you select target up and forward. So that's what we can do. So you can choose all the three options. Okay. And finally, you can add a custom reticle. So basically, custom reticle means like in sniper game or something like that, when you are aiming at a target, there is a icon, target icon, right? So that icon is called reticle. So you can also add such an icon to know exactly where you are going to land. Okay, so you can just add. So that is in prefabs. So you can go to VR, reticles, and you can add either circular reticle or a square reticle. Let's add circular reticle. So again, go to the rugs, open prefab, and in custom reticle add the circular one. Okay, and it will anyway save because there is auto save. And you can also do the same for the normal rug, add custom reticle, or for the normal rug you can add the square one. The big rug, you can add the square reticle. Okay, now whenever your pointer goes there, it will show the reticle, it will show the pointer or the target symbol. Okay, so let's see. So suppose I am looking at this rug. Now let's change the, now let's point towards the rug. Now you see, you are seeing a square reticle. That is a square target symbol. Okay, so now you know exactly where you are landing. Fine. Now suppose I target the small rug. You see, it's showing a circular target or a circular reticle. That's all. So you can add a reticle to make your visual cue better. Okay, now when you click G, you will jump there. All right, so that's what we can do. So what did we do for teleportation? So earlier we looked at rotation, continuous rotation, but again that will create simulation sickness. So we looked at snap turns, that is 45 degrees, 45 degrees and so on. But rotation will not let you move. It will keep you at the same position. It will just change your orientation. Okay, but you also want to move. Again in motion you have continuous motion as well as jumping. So we did not look at continuous motion because that will again create simulation sickness. So we didn't take that option. We directly looked at jumping, that is teleportation. So to do teleportation, what do we need to do? We need to do two things. One is we need to give teleportation ability to the player, and we need to allow teleportability or teleportation area, or we need to make some area teleportable too. So the player to be teleportable to some area. So only some areas are teleportable. So we need to select which areas are teleportable. Okay, so two things: the player should have teleportation ability, the area should be teleportable. For the player to have teleportation abilities, we should select XR rig and then add component and then select teleportation provider. Okay, now the player will have teleportation abilities. For an area to be teleportable, select that area or an object. So instead of rug, I can select the floor, so that the player can teleport anywhere onto the floor. Okay, I selected the rug, and for it to be made teleportable, you add component teleportation area. So for the player you need to add teleportation provider, for the area you need to add teleportation area. Okay, and then you the main thing is you choose one of these. You want, even when the player jumps onto that area, you want the player to be always facing world space up, independent of the orientation of the object. The player should always be standing with respect to the world. Is that what you want? Or the player should be standing with respect to the object? Is that what you want? Or you want the player to be standing with respect to the object and also looking in the object's direction? Is that what you want? These three options you have. You choose one of these three options and just click play. If you want more visual cues, you can add a reticle, custom reticle. So that is here, custom reticle. You go to assets folder, in assets folder, in VR folder, you have reticles. You have two kinds of reticles. Choose one of them and drag onto the custom reticle field. Okay, so that will give you visual cues. So now your arrow, wherever it is pointing, you will also see the reticle and you can jump to that point. Okay, so this is what we did so far. Okay, so that is about locomotion. So let's stop here and continue in the next class.